All right, let's change directions just a little bit and go to the NFL. Cedric, you wrote about this week. If people want to check it out, you talked a little bit about the Colin Kaepernick tryout in Atlanta. This was a topic of conversation a lot last week as the NFL announces they're doing a tryout for Colin Kaepernick. Every team invited. They were going to do it at the Falcons facility. And then the day of the tryout, a Saturday, which was a weird day to have a tryout. Let's admit that, because obviously with so many Sunday games, teams are spread out, going to games, getting ready. Colin Kaepernick's people decide, listen, we don't like the setup. We don't like the way this is looking. We're going to go somewhere else. We're going to go somewhere where we can have transparency. But Cedric, it was a lot of under the big top, a lot of circus, it seemed like to me.
It was a real story. It was a debacle. Let's call it what it is. Colin Kaepernick, I like some of the things he stands for. We've talked about it, Jen, the mistreatment of black men, unarmed black men in America by police personnel. Yeah. Well documented. I am all about that. The kneeling during the national anthem, I didn't take it personally like veterans did, and I'm a son of a veteran, but I didn't like how he handled this part. Now the NFL, they had language in the waiver that was probably designed to get them out of any kind of potential legal proceeding that would follow it regarding some collusion, which I think they're probably guilty of. But for Colin to speak like he already had a job, I thought he was there to get signed. He sounded like more of an activist than he did a guy looking for a backup or starting quarterback job in the NFL. And as a result, Jen, I don't think Colin Kaepernick wants to play football anymore. That thing about football, it seemed like it was more about him expressing his sour grapes and talking about transparency. My dad always told me, you dress for the job that you want, not the one that you have. He showed up in a Kunta Kinte t-shirt. And we grew up, we watched Roots, and we know that that's a descendant of acclaimed author Alex Haley. I don't know what that has to do about football. If you're trying to convince 31 white billionaires and one Middle Eastern billionaire that you're ready to be an NFL player again, I don't think he took the right tact. Backup's job is to be ready when the starter gets hurt. That's the first role of the backup. And number two is to shut the hell up and be the backup. I don't think Colin Kaepernick is a shut the hell up type.
No, I don't think so either. And we talked about this when it was announced that they were going to do this, and I think I even asked you, said, is this a real and true workout, or is it a PR stunt? And your answer was yes. It was actually both. But I think as it rolled along, it did seem more like PR stunt. I mean, there was still the workout aspect of it, and I don't think
good.
Yeah. I mean, I think there was something to be said for the actual football part of it. But, I think as it went along, you saw that, maybe at the beginning you thought, well, it's part PR, part football. But I think as things went, the PR kind of started to weigh more heavily for both sides. I mean, the fact that you had, the NFL trying to keep it under wraps, to not allow anybody to see what was going to happen. To me, that wasn't a good move by the NFL. But has the NFL, have they made good moves in this whole thing? No, of course not. So that was not a surprise. But I do think there was a way for Colin Kaepernick to do this workout to show what he could do, because it looked like he can still do it, Cedric. That's the thing. You've got to think there was a team that got to the end of that workout and thought, I think he could help us. Then did they change their mind after the way they heard him talk afterwards?
That's a problem. If he had just showed up and thrown the football around and took a couple of questions and not been adversarial in his comments, I think that Colin Kaepernick would have gotten a job. There are some really bad quarterbacks starting in this league.
Absolutely.
Ryan Finley, Mitchell Trubisky. Two of the three Allens suck. So I just think it's a really bad year for starting quarterbacks. And there's work to be had. And if the starters are bad, then there's some backup jobs available. So I just think that he missed out on a chance. I don't know that he wanted to get signed. I'm not sure. He's a complicated cat, so I'm not going to begin to try to predict what he wanted. But it just came across as a colossal waste of time and a PR stunt that just had a circus-like atmosphere. And I came away going, if I'm an NFL owner, I don't know that I'm going to sign Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think there's been a lot of talk about the hypocrisy of it all. Obviously people talk about how would he be a distraction? Would it be a distraction? All of that. Clearly the NFL has come to terms with having guys on their roster that aren't the most savory of characters. They aren't the role models. You don't want your kids to be like some of these guys. I'm not saying all of them, but we know the ones that have records, that have been arrested, that have been even found guilty of things, that are still on rosters, that they're not a distraction to their team. So could a team have Colin Kaepernick on its roster and handle it? Absolutely. There's no doubt in my mind that the distraction, whatever there would be, you could work it out if you were a team that you wanted to have this guy on the roster. But here we sit almost a full week since he did that workout, Cedric, and I haven't heard anything that makes me believe a job is forthcoming. Now, maybe as the season gets a little bit longer, teams continue to have injuries at quarterback, maybe it happens, but if at this point it hasn't happened, I don't think it's happening. I don't think he'll play in the league again, Cedric. I think that's it.
I do too. I think he's 32 years old. I think football is in his rear view. I think he has a bright career as an activist if he wants it. He's very intelligent. He's good looking and he's smart. I think he could do some good things. He already's done a lot of good charitable things to help his community, Jen. But as far as football, like I wrote, I think he effectively closed the door on his NFL career.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty likely storyline coming out of this week and that workout.